13 and burritos. Going live in 3, 2, 1. This Week in Blizz is proudly sponsored by DoghouseSystems.com. If you use the code TWIB at checkout, that's TWIB, you will get double memory on your next Doghouse system. We thank DoghouseSystems.com for their support of This Week in Blizz. And also TweakedAudio.com. Go to TweakedAudio.com for high-performance, noise-reducing earbuds. Use our code TWIB to get 30% off plus free shipping on your next order, and support This Week in Blizz in the process.
Armed and ready. What's up? This Week in Blizz.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to This Week in Blizz. I'm Garrett Weinzierl.
I'm Ben Zweifel.
And I'm Kyle Ferguson.
And this is the show keeping you up to date on the worlds of Blizzard Entertainment. I am now one roommate less, and it is amazing how good your internet is with one less internet-dependent individual in the home. It's great. It's like I'm on welfare, and now I have one less child because they died or something terrible, but I'm still getting the same amount of money.
Was Mike just
awesome.
streaming 1080p the entire time you were trying to podcast and you were wondering why?
Apparently, because...
Listen, I need my video in 4K. What can I say?
Well, you guys can attest. We've been having severe connection issues over the last month. And this is my first day doing a show, sans a third roommate, and the connection's great. Look at you guys. I can see you. You're very clear. You're sounding good. It's good stuff.
Good.
Jeez.
I was wondering where that hole was going to dig itself to, and I'm glad it ended on dead children.
No, it started on Dead Children, and it ended with an awesome show.
Well, I'm glad to hear it.
All right, wonderful.
One thing you can think about is it's nothing but up from here, because you can't...
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for bullet pointing that one little analogy there for me, Kyle. I'll now have to... already, you're baiting Tash to make a meme about that for tomorrow.
That was entirely self-inflicted on your part, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyways, how are you, gentlemen, this fine Monday?
Doing well.
Doing good, Kyle?
I think you and I both agreed this morning that we had a rough video game weekend.
Yeah, I barely played anything, and what I did play didn't go well.
Oh my goodness, I got my butt kicked in every single game I played. Other than, well, no, I guess in World of Warcraft that happened too, because I had 14-minute waits as a healer, which was most unexpected. So, continued to make my way through the duking grounds. Proud to be hanging out there. Quested all this time, take down Arthas in a 5-man, hero of BC, hanging out in the duking grounds.
How do you feel about the what are the monkeys called again? I'm already the Hosen. Yes, thank you. How do you feel about the Hosen?
They're all right. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of monkeys. They creep me out. They're kind of disgusting, and I watched one as a child barf into its own hand for about half an hour. So since
why were you watching it for half an hour?
Because he would barf into his own hand, and while doing a handstand, this is a gorilla, a male gorilla.
No.
Then he'd eat it, and then get in a handstand again, and yeah,
all right.
So I could stop watching. Basically.
Well, that's what.
In all fairness, I don't think I'd be able to stop watching that either.
My question wasn't how he went on for half an hour. My question was why at the zoo I'm assuming you were at, why you didn't just continue on to the next exhibit.
Have you ever watched an episode of Project Runway or America's Next Top Model?
Yes.
It's the same sort of train wreck that you can't look away from.
I like Project Runway, actually. It's one of my guilty pleasures. I don't know, man. I dig that show. As far as the shows, like the more girl-focused shows that my girlfriend likes to watch, I can get behind Project Runway. Next Top Model makes me want to gouge out my eyes. But yeah.
At any rate, the Lions are allied with the Fishmen, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, which are, marginally less interesting and more annoying than the Hosen.
Yeah, the Hosen seem like they have a lot more personality to them, at least.
Big time. But I'd say this expansion as a whole is far more alliance story driven. So for a side faction that honestly isn't important at all when you hit 90 to be a little off, I'm not too concerned.
Sure, but I'm dealing with we captured the prince, so that's a big deal, and so it seems like there's quite a bit on the Horde side.
Yeah. Well, it's very much a struggle constantly. Like the whole time the Alliance is trying to find Prince Anduin, and the whole time the Horde's trying to keep him captured. And spoiler alert, doesn't last for long. So he's grown into his own. And to think, I used to dance inappropriately behind his child model when he was the King of Stormwind. Now he's a grown boy.
If we're keeping track on that, though, there are many bosses that have been teabagged, thrust upon across the entirety of World of Warcraft.
Yes, only to come back in another patch like Ragnaros, and then you're just like, oh, crap! Hey, I was totally kidding that last time, man.
Hey, bro!
We're cool, right? We're cool. So, anyways, let's get into this week's news. We're going to start off this week, like we have for the past month, with StarCraft. Another week, another beta balance is upon us. The beta balance number 13 dropped this past, not even the weekend, like Friday or something. Just shy of us being able to talk about it on StarCast, which is what always happens. Yeah. Sometimes we're lucky and they're like, hey, let's get this out early today. But most of the time they're like, when's StarCast going on? All right, let's put it out in a half an hour.
David Kitten, throw the switch.
Exactly. Anyways, not nearly as many changes as before, but still some interesting changes nonetheless. First up, the Protoss, the Oracle. The duration for Envision has been increased from 30 to 60 seconds. This is something we talked about
last week.
I'm not sure. Was it last week? David Kim.
We talked about it.
Yeah, David Kim took to the forums kind of talking.
So this is just the
everyone.
Execution of this rather than...
Right. This is no longer David Kim. Hey, we're thinking about doing this, and it is now live in the beta. So, and
granted, David Kim's musings normally do make it into the beta, but...
Yes, they do. I think more have made it in than haven't.
Right.
Not to say that they haven't then been retroactively taken away or anything like that, but it's not interesting and boring. So cool. They've last twice as long. It is now a little more worth it to use this because if you use this, you're not going to be using that awesome worker killing ability. So you have to make a choice. So at least now it is a little more bang for your buck, so to speak.
Yep.
So.
We'll have to wait till the pros get their hands on it and we see some nice long games where this can be used outside of detection. Take advantage of that 60 seconds to watch a certain pass on the map. But until then, it's nice for us noobs that aimed our detection wrong and now we get a little something for it.
It's one of those things. It's like I'm currently enjoying the last season of, Wings of Liberty GSL, but I cannot wait for the first Heart of the Swarm one. I'm really genuinely curious how all of our theories and speculation actually end up panning out.
Yeah, well, I'm no longer enjoying the final GSL of Wings of Liberty, so at least that makes one of us.
Boo.
It'll be nice when GSL gets their hands on it because the MLG ones are show matches. They're never going to have the same gravity as
exactly.
GSL.
And so far, all they're showing me is that no one has any idea how to deal with some of the new changes.
Nope.
Exactly. So I'm
yeah.
Go on.
Oh, you saw the Hellion drops then, Garrett?
I haven't watched the game yet, but I have read all of the flaming as a result.
Yep.
But I really dig that Blizzard's getting on this really quick. So that we've got everyone complaining about battle Hellion drops Hellbat drops. Can't get my terminology right because they keep changing names on me. A lot of people are complaining, and I like that Blizzard's getting on it really quick. I mean, David Kim right away is responding in the forums saying, listen, yeah, it seems a little strong, but we haven't seen anyone react to these in a way that is effective to begin with. So let's wait until people actually learn how to deal with it correctly and then make adjustments. And I like that.
So it is extremely popular right now in the ladder. It is, and it's deadly. You can't, like a normal drop, you can kind of just throw whatever you got at it. And as long as you're in the area, you'll get it done. But these things are damn powerful, and you need to scout it, be prepared for. I mean, it's like detection, anything else. So it's the correct response. But as a player, having this happen to you, frightening stuff.
Is it? Do you? So let me get this straight. The flaming was in regards to a MLG show match.
Yes, and a general strategy that is developed in the beta itself. You can currently fit 3 Hellbats into a medevac, and the Hellbats count as biological. So not only do they fit perfectly in there, 3 of them all together perfectly cover their entire surface area, perfect circle of flames. So getting a nice surround doesn't matter. They are biological. They get the healing from the medevac there, and it is rough stuff.
Interesting.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a nerf. And David Kim has already said if we continue to see this abused after some strategies to combat it come to light, that they're possibly thinking one of the easiest fixes to only allow 2 Hellbats to load up into 1 medevac.
Yep, so, and if you're listening to that thinking, wait, but only Hellbats, what about the Hellions that turn into Hellbats? Well, while the Hellions turning into a Hellbat, it is a slow process, first of all. And until the transformation is complete, they do not count as biological. So you're not getting the healing, you're doing no attacking. It would be a huge nerf.
It pretty much would be useless unless you're unloading on the other side of like a smokestack or bushes or something.
Yeah, or just.
But even then, they kind of waddle up pretty slow. I mean, they're not.
Yeah, they're not going to run in and surprise you in your mineral line. So
what exactly is the problem? I imagine like if you're a good player, you can yank your probes pretty fast. I mean,
the problem is like Kyle
you send
said,
your 12 lings at them afterwards, trying to take them out, and it doesn't work.
Well, the problem is like Kyle said that even getting a good surround is futile. But David Kim made a good point that watching this is that the way that the MLG show match, I forget the players involved, the player who was on the receiving end of the drop didn't handle it correctly. He said, listen, he would have died if that was full of Marines.
Okay, well, that's an entirely separate problem.
Right, but the bigger issue now is that since that has happened, it is now a fad on the ladder, and a lot of people are having issue dealing with it. So.
Yep, so what you need to do out there, if this doesn't change, if you're a Zerg player, and that's really the best suggestions I can make as a Zerg player, you can either go for roaches, which is probably your best bet, or if you only have lings and the queen, target down the medevac, get that thing dead, so all you have to deal with is these stranded Hellbats. And until that point, it's a lot of damage, and you need to pretend that those Hellbats are like banelings. You need to split. If you have roaches and you're walking towards those, you have to split them up. It's just a strategy Zergs aren't accustomed to, and it's making for some ridiculous MLG show matches.
Here's a question. Do you feel like the swarm host is still a huge problem for a majority of players? Like you just go swarm host and you just kill everything?
No, God, no. Not since the Locust nerf.
Right.
They're still a very viable unit.
No, absolutely. But my point being, like in the beginning, that was nobody knew how to combat that, and now, I mean, the metagame has changed enough to the point where people are starting to learn how to deal with this kind of thing. I imagine it'll be very similar in this case.
Well, that's pretty much what David Kim is saying. That's
right.
Like, listen, you guys are playing wrong. Learn how to defend properly.
Maybe it's going to be a problem, right?
Yeah. Basically saying we want to see proper defense, see how if it's still overpowered even then we will nerf it if need be.
Yeah.
So, anyways, how we got that far off of topic of Envision being changed from 30 to 60 seconds, I do not know, but it is a pressing matter. That's quite the hot topic today. Mm-hmm. In other news, the Terran Widow Mine, the primary target damage for Sentinel missiles has been increased from 125 to 125 plus 35 versus shields. Again, something that was brought up, not something we talked about on last week's This Week in Blizz, but it was brought up on StarCast, to which both Kyle and I were like, holy crap, why haven't we seen plus versus shields before? So, kind of interesting.
I think that's interesting and cool.
Yeah, I mean, we have plus armor, plus light, plus the biological or whatever. Why not?
Yeah, makes sense. Aside from EMP, of course.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see how that works out. And I'm assuming this is negated if you're an immortal, because you still have that hardened shield passive ability that reduces all incoming damage to a 5.
And I'm curious if it's 5 plus 35 though versus shields.
I would think that the immortal would negate it because that's the whole point of making immortal.
Yeah, it can only do a maximum amount of damage.
Again,
so
I haven't tested it personally, but my assumption is how that's how it would work. But let's get into
It's interesting because they seem to have a very specific, like, this is extremely targeted in the way that they've constructed this. So I'll be curious to see what niche they want this to fill.
Yeah.
well, they want to make sure that mech can go against Protoss, and particularly against Protoss RoboPlay. And at the moment, it's still odd. With Hellbats the way they are right now, I don't know if anyone's really going to be putting a lot of focus onto the Widowmine, but I'm excited to see what kind of play can come out of this. Cool Widowmine play is going to be so awesome to see, and against a massive Protoss Death Ball. If that could be executed right, I think it would have to involve some trickery, but it would be...
Well, yeah, the very first Heart of the Swarm show match was a Fantasy versus Parting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Fantasy got 2 Widow Mines in the Parting's mineral line, and 2 volleys killed 18 workers. Parting still won because he's a god amongst Protoss, but I mean, damn, they're strong. So, yeah, there's that.
Hold
Zerg.
on. It seems like it might actually go through Immortal Shields.
Really?
From my quick research.
Your Google foo.
My Google foo. Yeah, it goes through Immortal Hardened Shield. So this is specifically to deal with Immortals for Mac.
That's awesome.
Interesting. So that's
So
just
I guess this is like can you still target Widow Mines? Like, you can still tell them they're not anymore. They took that away.
They're smart targets now. So
Still interesting because it does negate Hardened Shields.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, eventually it'll just become a, kind of a meta strategy to bait with zealots or something.
Sure, or, it might also be a way of, like, a different tech route rather than having to go ghosts eventually, right?
Yeah.
Being able to do this instead might be
a
a more...
Chat room saying that this is going to, with this new change, it'll one-shot zealots and stalkers. With the plus 35 to shields. And that's what Ben thinks about that. Dear God! One-shotting zealots and stalkers.
I'm so sorry, I just inhaled some water.
It's okay. It happens.
Rough stuff.
No, I'm just that shocked. But that's cool.
Yeah.
As it should. It's so slow, it has to.
Yeah, I mean, the wind-up is massive. Once these things fire off, they're cached for a long period of time.
There ain't no sweet Widowmine micro going on.
No, they're not a smart bomb by any means. They'd be pretty damn broken if they were.
Yep.
Zerg changes. The hatchery, the pneumatized carapace upgrade now only requires a hatchery.
It's Overlord speed, right?
Yes.
Cool.
They also talked about this last time, though, didn't they?
Yeah, yes. Again, this was moving Overlord speed upgrade down to tier 1 was something that David Kim was hinting at and is now in the beta. Again, emphasis on beta. This may or may not make it the live game.
Well, not much longer.
Yeah,
True.
The majority of maps that you would need this to scout early on is non-existent in Heart of the Swarm. All the maps, all the ladder maps that I've played on 1s and 2s, they're quite small.
It's going to change quite quickly, though. Once the game goes live, we're going to get tournament maps that are going to get very popular and going to be mixed into the game.
Yeah, most of those are huge.
And people are going to complain like crazy. Everyone kind of hates small maps.
Yeah.
But weren't you guys saying last time that this is going to be a very deliberate choice if you make it to sacrifice a resources on something like Overlord speed, where you can normally spend them on something else? I mean, that early in the game, it's going to be a pretty big decision.
It's pretty much, do I want extra larva from a queen, or do I want, now you have the choice of Burrow at tier 1, and now Overlord speed at tier 1.
Yep. I'd still love to see some great drop play come out of this.
Mostly tier 1 drops, that's what we need.
Yeah, and the math that we're waiting for other people to do to show me that this upgrade is worth it over losing the 2 or 3 overlords you might, one being sacrificed, one being chased off, dying because he couldn't get over the cliff fast enough. It could be worth it.
I'm sure we'll see uses of this in very specific builds, and the other half of the usage will just be, I cannot get a scout inside this base. I need to see what's going on.
He's going for Corvid reactor. I think it's gonna be one of those.
Yeah, exactly. The infestor, the projectile speed for fungal growth has been reduced from 15 to 12. This is something that David Kim also talked about. Not really much else to say on that because this goes hand in hand with the next change, which is the Spore Crawler. The weapon damage for Acid Spew has been increased from 15 base to 15 base plus an additional 15 versus biological. And I don't want to beat a dead horse, but we kind of talked about at length last week how this is strictly for ZVZ for warding off realisks. So if you want to hear us extrapolate upon that even more, go listen to episode 42.
Yep. But my style of play is always Lings, upgrades straight to Infestation Pit so I can get Swarm Hosts and Infestors. My play didn't change a bit this past weekend with a decrease of 3 on my fungal growth. It's not enough. If they actually want to make me stop getting 9, 10 Infestors, it needs to be more than this.
Well, I think they don't necessarily want to make it so that Infestors aren't viable. They just want to make them less of an obvious choice. Right?
Yeah.
Make it so that you can choose between the two and they're both equally viable, not that you have to go, of course you go Infestors. You'd be dumb not to, right?
Yeah.
Sure. The slowness, though, I was immediately, because I've played so many damn computer games, able to counter for it and take it into account.
But I mean, that's an important thing. Basically what it's doing is it's upping the skill requirement for it.
To an extent, yes. They need to get rid of fungal stacking if there's a real problem with it. Because, I mean, if you have 3 Infestors even, you can just kind of go, oh my god, fungal growth, do. And one of them will probably hit. And then once one's hit, then you can just bring some more Infestors over and hold them forever.
Right. What, you think they should be briefly immune afterwards for like 2 seconds or something? Or
me, no. But the Terran out there and Valor,
they would love that.
Master in the chat room makes a good point. We might be able to see some players build their own reflexes against Infestors, which would be a much cooler point than actually Infestors not being good.
You see Marine King split out of a fungal.
Or even taking advantage of we had a Mutalisk buff to even their acceleration a while ago. I mean, take advantage of some of these things. Dodge.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a fungal shot.
Just play some Dota, dodge some Pudge, you'll be good to go by morning.
Exactly.
So while we're talking about a lot of these different changes that are still going on, they're not as big as they were. These are pretty small, relatively fine-tuning steps. And the big point about this is actually the HOTS beta is ending on March 1st. That much time left to fine-tune things.
Well, it's not like the beta goes down and all tuning is over, though. They are going to have a PTR that will be up during the entire time between beta and the launch of the game. Partially,
which is March 12th, right?
Correct. This is partially...
It's 2 weeks. I mean, that's not that huge.
That could be 2 more patches, though.
That's true. But I find it unlikely. I imagine they're probably coming to a close on this kind of thing. I'd be really surprised if we saw any huge different... they're adding in the Warhound again. Is not
no. I'm not saying we're going to see giant, underpainting. They're getting in there and they're, painting out the little fine details.
Yeah,
with the 3-hair brush.
You talking about a PTR that's going to go on?
Yes.
It's not public, though, is it?
No, it is a private beta test realm, and that'll be up so that the tournaments that are currently running, like the MLG show matches, can still run and operate during the 2 weeks, the 2-week lag between beta going down and Heart of the Swarm being released. And I'm sure also, if you're a pro player, you'll have access to this so you can practice.
Right. But they're still not massing the same sheer stats that they are with the beta right now. So
no, but just the people that know what they're doing.
What?
No, but it is the people who know what they're doing who are going to continue to play.
True. It entirely depends on how many people will actually have access to the PTR.
Right. I'm assuming tournaments and pros only, and then Blizzard, insiders.
Right.
But I like to think they've been playing Heart of the Swarm for 10 years. So
you'd think.
Yeah, they're like, man, Legacy of the Void's great. Wait till you guys see it.
Oh, that means for 2 weeks, got to go back to Wings of Liberty and go through the interface. Where's my multiplayer? It's in that menu.
I can't find it.
Why aren't I leveling up? I want experience coming out of my SCVs. But
Well, Blizzard launched its new site, Project Blackstone. We talked about this maybe 6 months ago. I was
not
hopeful
that
it-
long ago.
No, really?
No, not
Oh.
even close.
No, come on. It was probably that long
Felt
ago.
like a while.
3
was like
months
October,
tops. 3 months tops.
September. It's February, sir.
Yeah, but you know what it isn't? It is not anything having to do with Diablo.
Nope. And it is not Project Titan. It is a lore-based website of Dominion.
It's one of these
Research
alternate
facility?
reality
Yeah.
games. Yeah, it's
It's a viral campaign for Heart of the Swarm. Let's
yeah,
not
that won't
shine
be
it
predicted.
any brighter than it really is.
Right.
So yeah, so this is the Under Wraps thing that was leaked a few months ago. It's just a website.
Mind you, there was no huge secrecy around any of this. They just got the domain name. That's all they did. Like there wasn't some sort of leak or anything like that. They just,
Yes, but when Blizzard registers a domain, you immediately wonder: is this for a game? What is this for? Because a lot of times it ends
right,
up being
or
for a game.
precisely something like this, which is actually what we ended up predicting. So it's not widely out there. There's not a ton of stuff up on there at the moment, but it seems like it could be interesting eventually. It looks like they're going to add lots more content to it.
Yeah. Currently, it shows information for basically a Dominion research facility, and they're doing projects on Zerg Protoss hybrids. So much like the lead up to Wings of Liberty, where we're unlocking music and interviews and stuff, there's going to be content on the site that's going to unlock over time. It's just a little more hazy because it's incredibly role-play-y. Like the whole thing looks like a Dominion email client.
Right. So I mean, I'd be surprised if we saw anything that broke the narrative or broke that sort of like, it wouldn't explain to you that it's about a game, right? I wouldn't be surprised to see like footage and stuff of various Zerg things show up and that kind of stuff. But yeah, so right now there's like 3 fake emails up that are basically like introducing them to this research facility.
Yep, which sounds interesting.
Yeah.
The guy's
But I
reminds me
think
of-
from a lore perspective, I think this is going to have it play largely into Legacy of the Void. I wouldn't be surprised either, because it seems like the Zelnaga certainly play into this whole like Zerg Protoss hybrid stuff, and we certainly saw some of it at the end of Wings of Liberty.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting that I'm wondering, is this a side story that they're going to promote through Heart of the Swarm so that we can be ready for it, for this big reveal when Legacy of the Void comes out? Or are we actually going to take out the Dominion this time and Legacy of the Void is nothing but hybrids, super space, dark voice man?
I'm sure there will be many twists along the way, but one thing that is for sure is that you ever in the campaign for Wings of Liberty, there's one part where you can go kill like this science center and it opens up this secret mission. You guys remember that? I think that's what this is related to. It is a Dominion research station where they're doing Zerg Protoss hybrids.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if that links into the narrative.
Yeah, I'm sure. But what about Kyle's question? Do you think the Dominion's going to be said and done with by the end of Heart of the Swarm? Because it sounds like, because I think
maybe the government in its current form, but I don't think Terrans will be taken out of the equation. Is what I'm saying.
Well, Dominion's only a portion of the Terran.
Right.
You have Manx's evil Terran, which is the Dominion. Then you've got Rainers, Raiders, and yada yada yada. I think, to answer your question, Kyle, I think so. I think that's where it's going, because I think Kerrigan has a much bigger role to play than her beef with Manx. So I think Heart of the Swarm is going to be this very personal journey for her of getting revenge against Manx. But then come Legacy of the Void, she and Raynor and Zeratul, the holy trifecta of StarCraft, are going to have to step up to the plate and accept their destiny. I mean, Zeratul's already, he's freaking Protoss Jesus already, so he knows what he has to do. But I think Raynor and Kerrigan have some growing up.
Sure, and we also had in Wings of Liberty a very brief scene of a ghostly Tassadar. So who knows who's coming back? All I know is that in previous lore they've said that Zerg cannot infest Protoss. So it'd be a really big switch for Kerrigan to actually take down this Blackstone facility, because then she would learn how to infest said Protoss and make hybrids of her own.
Which then begs the question, why oh why isn't there a Protoss Zerg hybrid unit thingy in the heart of the swarm for the Zerg? Because that would be awesome.
Yeah, the overpowered race.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the hybrid that we played against in Wings of Liberty was created for the use of the Xel'Naga, is what I'm understanding, or are the Xel'Naga, or something along those lines. I'm not really sure what's going on there. But both the Protoss and the Zerg were created by the Xel'Naga initially, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
And they're both perfect in one way or the other in some lore-ish kind of way. So obviously this ties into some sort of grand plan along the way.
Yep. Or basically, all video games nowadays just tell the story of the origin of life. And Halo did it. The Mass Effect did it. I wouldn't be surprised if the next Saints Row is the direction it goes.
Yep.
So why not do it in StarCraft as well?
Yeah. But what's kind of interesting is that, from my understanding, is that humans don't really fall into the affected by the Xel'Naga category, unless there's a big plot twist.
No, because we're that special.
Yep, of course.
Obviously.
You're at the center of the universe, please.
Can't tell this story was written by a human at all. We're gonna finally we're gonna actually meet aliens, and they're gonna think we're the most self-centered racist jerks ever. Everything you write, humans are like super important. Man, guys.
Yeah.
So self-important. Come on, you guys evolved by random chance in some odd place in the Milky Way. Like, no, we're a little special. Just a little bit.
Sure.
We didn't have a creator. We don't get all these answers. You know, we got to come up with something.
Says you. I was created in my flying spaghetti monster's image, sir.
Well, all I'm saying, if there was an alien who came down and designed the Terran, not humans, we'll make that distinction here. Lore, real life. And they designed the Terrans, why wouldn't they give us laser eyes or horns? Or
That's an excellent question.
The human body has no natural. A punch is the stupidest thing on earth. I mean, first of all, your fist has no weight to it, so you have to throw with muscle. You can only hit as hard as you can actually. No natural weaponry, no acid blood.
Clearly, a man who has
your
never.
question is, why am I not a Zerg?
Yeah, why can't I just crawl into my carpus for 3 days and pop out with some spines?
Did you ever take like social studies or anthropology or anything, Kyle? Like, our ability to craft tools and use said tools are pretty much what made that, and language made us the dominant life form.
It seems
we don't need
it's our penchant for engineering more than anything else, and that actually, well, if you look at it that way, that actually comes across in the Terran like philosophy of things.
Yeah, well, then I would say the Protoss are very close too, because they're both makers.
Sure, but the Protoss making seems to be much more surrounded by psionic sort of manipulation of energy rather than mechanical engineering.
Correct. I'll give you that. But yeah, Kyle, that's why we don't have natural defense mechanisms. We don't need them. We
can make guns.
We can make bombs.
You drop a hammer, hammer's on the floor. Hammer attached to your hand already, can't drop it. That's all I'm saying.
Hammer arm straps. What can I say?
So you basically are replaying the scene from X-Men 2, you know. Put down the weapons.
Listen, if the Terran had natural defenses, there'd be no reason for them to invent the Predator. We always we remember what an embarrassment that campaign unit was.
What was the
cat? The big cat.
Oh, the one that no one spec'd into?
And you're like, cool, I'll upgrade this never.
Yeah, no, I didn't even choose it. I
forget what the other option was. Wasn't that like Science Vessel or Voltron Cat? Because I think that...
No.
That was Raven or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
That was so dumb. Why was that even in there? I think it was in a piece of the lore somewhere, like it was in a book or something, and then they felt obliged to put it in there.
It was so un-Terran-like. It didn't match the design aesthetic of anything else in the game.
So didn't fit. I don't know how that made the cut.
I don't either. Whoever designed that at Blizzard, you should feel bad.
You made a bad unit, and you should feel bad. I'm just saying.
Somewhere a Blizzard dev is crying or telling us to kiss their asses. I don't know. Anyways, let's get into World of Warcraft for the week, shall we, guys?
Mm-hmm.
5.2 is supposedly coming in roughly 2 weeks. This is via a tweet from Bashiok himself, who says, I've jotted down a few notes on how to best spend these last 2 weeks preparing for the 5.2 patch, and I have a feeling that was by design. I don't think anyone here is going, oh my god, he let it slip! I think he's just screwing with us. So cool. We got roughly 2 weeks. They also said officially that they are aiming for the last week of February, so that kind of all it all
narrows it down a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. But the notes he jotted down was kind of a guide on like where do you stand. Okay, this is how you could best utilize your time before 5.2. And he kind of surmises a lot of the juicy bits that you need to know about 5.2, like the following: that the Throne of Thunder. It's located on a new island. This new island can be reached by using a portal found in your faction's Shadowpan camp on the west coast of Townlog Steppes. When 5.2 releases, you'll automatically receive a quest that will get you there, so no need to write that one down. So, more flying around. God forbid we give you a portal at the capital.
Couldn't have that.
No.
We want you out in the world,
Nor could you have a Valor vendor anywhere near anything useful.
Yep. I don't know, maybe we should put the PvP vendor on the Great Wall of China in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, yeah, and for the longest time, neither of those things were marked. I remember, where is the PvP vendor?
Yeah,
nobody
somebody's
knew.
like, it's on top of that wall, and one of the things, and you're like, what is this, a prank?
Oh, yeah, my favorite thing was I think it was Mike, our buddy, goes, oh, it's on the wall. I'm like, the wall that goes around the entire continent? That's descriptive. Thanks, buddy.
The other sort of more important point that they bring up is that we now know the item level requirement for LFR Throne of Thunder. So this will affect a great deal of people. It's actually 480.
Yeah.
Which is not that hard to reach, but it's up there.
I'm there. Woo!
Congratulations.
Yeah, as of I just got 2 tier pieces this weekend and put me over the hump.
Yeah. But it doesn't seem like, it basically seems like you need to do the other LFRs plenty, and then this will help that. And if they increase the drop rates in the other LFRs, it shouldn't be that hard.
Which they are doing. It's been confirmed. That,
yeah, exactly.
That the drops in the 5.0 LFR raids is being greatly, quote, greatly increased, which is so great, because I want to complete my set so bad. Just because it looks cool, man. It's a cool looking set. Also, in 5.2, the weekly quest to turn in the Lesser Charms changes. It will instead give you 3 Mogu Runes of Fate, which can be used the same way on bonus rolls, but only in the 5.2 Throne of Thunder raid, and on the 2 new world bosses, that's Nalak and Undasta. Elder Charms aren't disappearing completely. They'll still be available for the 5.0 raids, but they'll instead be dropping from mobs in the new Outdoor Thundering Isle zone. So, there you go.
Okay.
Not going away completely. Good stuff. Good stuff.
So yet another currency to contend with.
Yep, as long as it goes in the currency tab and not in my bag for a month before they
totally
realize,
fine.
oh crap, this should go in the currency bag, I will be happy.
Yep.
It's good stuff. Good stuff indeed. But we're also...
Blizzard announces... What?
Shooby-doo-what?
What?
Onward and upward. Blizzard announces that they are down to 9.6 million subscribers. This is down from over 10 million announced third quarter 2012.
Yeah. So they haven't hit the... They haven't gone lower than the lowest point they ever hit, but now we are down from the height after the expansion launch. But that makes sense.
This is fairly predictable, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
Incredibly.
Yes.
But more interesting was, though, they released sales numbers, and Myst was the 3rd best-selling PC game of all time at retail.
Wow, that's substantial.
Yeah.
So while subscriber numbers are certainly relevant to their business model, I think, actual box copies are probably a pretty hefty part of their revenue. I mean, more than enough to justify to keep churning out content.
Oh, indeed.
Yep. Considering
Definitely.
most games, that's their only, sort of time of retail.
Yeah. So I don't what do you guys think about for the future of the WoW numbers? I mean, do you think we're ever gonna get above 10 mil again, or do you think it's gonna be kind of a slow trickle from here on out?
Well, I mean, their monthly fluctuations seem to be more than like 250,000, 500,000, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see it bounce around there again, but I think we'll stabilize around here and then slowly trickle down. I don't think we're going to see a huge bump.
Yeah.
I think we'll see a huge bump when new character models are released. You can't stop old players from wanting to see what they look like.
Okay, that's a very important point that you bring up, is that if they update the engine and bring out new things, right, like a new look, that's the big competitive aspect of this, right, is that by now the engine is extremely dated. I mean, it really, really is. And the further away you get from its initial inception, the bigger that gap is, and the harder it is for players who are really, truly spoiled with amazing graphics and a lot of other games to, get over that hump. Because if you're already a seasoned player, that's one thing. But introducing like new players to a game that looks really dated already is a little bit difficult when there's so many other options out there.
True. But to say, with an engine this old and to still have this many players, it speaks a lot for the game. I mean...
Oh, yeah, no, the game's fantastic. I'm just saying, like, you can tell somebody the game is fantastic as many times as you like. That won't necessarily draw them in.
Well, they can enjoy Call of Duty 13.5.2.
Sure, and there isn't a...
Which is probably what will be out
press.
when the next expansion comes out.
And there's not a big press release every time I load up Roller Coaster Tycoon. This is an MMO that is old, that it's impressive it continues to get these numbers, sure.
Yep.
Well, yeah, and granted, there's no other MMO that comes even remotely close, right?
Oh, I mean, the market has changed so drastically. WoW is really the only MMO that can still exist with a $15 a month price tag, I think.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the Old Republic is pretty much fallen off the face of the earth.
About to have its first expansion, though.
Yeah, which could they have? Which have you looked into that expansion? They don't seem excited about their own expansion. They're doing a very bad job of selling it to me, and I am a Star Wars apologist to the ends of the earth. I will be on my deathbed screaming Episode 3 was a good movie.
I just don't think you can get people emotionally involved with the Hutt cartel ever.
Thank you. I don't know. I'm so disappointed with that game. It has it just made me so sad.
Potential to be cool.
It really did, and honestly, the first time leveling through, it was pretty damn sweet. But then I hit max level and it was like, where do I go now?
Yeah.
But have you seen the list? I mean, we have like 13 new MMOs coming out this year.
Really?
Yeah, we have...
I've heard of none of them.
Let's see. We got Phantasy Star 2. Did you guys ever play that?
Nope.
Phantasy Star Dreamcast? Oh,
no,
man.
I watched my roommate play it and it looked terrible.
Well, the big one, of course, is Elder Scroll.
Is it a big one? Because I hear fantasy MMO and I immediately turn my brain off.
Yeah. Not gonna do well.
I can't see it.
No way. Have you seen the screenshots and stuff too?
Yeah,
like,
that's the other thing. It doesn't even look that great. And the thing for me is, I don't think you can't have an MMO that plays a damn thing like Elder Scrolls plays. So, if it played like Skyrim, I'd be so excited. But it's not. We're gonna have action bars. You're gonna have classes. I want to just spawn in the world, and whatever I do, I become good at it. That's how I want to play that.
We want co-op Skyrim, which is not the MMO feature. Marvel Heroes, Firefall, Neverwinter.
Firefall is not really
Neverwinter.
MMO, is
Hold
it?
on. Is there a Neverwinter MMO coming out?
That could be one of their free-to-play, because they do have Dungeons & Dragons Online, so this could be their expansion.
Okay.
Gotcha.
My main point being that...
I remember playing Neverwinter Nights back in the day. That's fun.
While we're saying that, MMO is trotted ground, people are going to run it over this year. A Game of Thrones MMO? Transformers Universe.
Okay, so MMO basically just means that you're playing on a server with other people for an extended period of time. I mean, that's essentially what this is going to boil down to. It's not necessarily anything. It's like a fancy multiplayer,
Sure.
from what I've gathered. Like, you'll do your single player in a multiplayer space.
Right. My point was not that MMOs are not going to exist anymore. It's that the $15 a month MMO is kind of, other than WoW, dead.
Right.
And that's one of the things I think that hit Tor the hardest, was it came out swinging like, we're going to be the next big $15 a month MMO, and that entire business model just kind of went up in flames about the same time that they launched.
Well, and to bring it back to World of Warcraft, I have never been more pleased with my $15 because the content is now staggered. Yeah. I feel like even if I reach 90 tomorrow, I would be enjoying even some single-player content coming up with this island.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you would, absolutely.
Yeah, no, there's so much flipping content. It's insane.
Right. I mean, over the past however many years it's been now, I mean, it's a constant aggregation of new stuff, which is great, because there's so much of the game I still haven't played.
Yeah.
Not that I ever will, mind you, but there's just certain things I'm not going to end up doing, but that's fine.
You still haven't even touched the pet battles, have you?
Not really.
No.
Nope.
I was about to, but...
I've been thinking about it recently. I might try it again.
Yep. I was about to get into it, and then my girlfriend bought me actual Pokemon, so...
Yeah.
There went that.
Yep.
Anyways, moving on. Valor and Justice Point conversions in 5.2, new patch, which means point reset for everyone. All Valor is being converted to Justice, and Justice above the 4,000 cap is being converted to Gold at a rate of 47 silver per point.
It's a very, very important point. You need to spend your Valor.
Yes, there's no point in hoarding. You're not going to... Oh, there's new gear coming out. I'm going to hold on my Valor and get new gear as soon as it comes out.
Nope.
Not
You're going to
happening.
be grinding daily, sorry.
Absolutely not. Yeah, which made me a little sad, but hey, what you going to do? So...
Well, I mean, it would give people sitting on, it would give progression raters who are all sitting on 4K Valor a massive advantage.
Yeah.
Or actually, is there even a Valor cap? I think there isn't even a Valor cap. There's only a 4K Justice Point cap. So there's not even a Valor cap right now. So they could literally be sitting on thousands upon thousands of Valor points and just go buy everything.
Spend it.
Oh, mind you, it does seem like the new Valor items will require the reputation with the new faction, which is like the Shadowpan Offensive or something. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, there's going to be a new faction.
So it's not like you'll be
Isle.
able to buy it right off the bat anymore.
Right, exactly. But the thing, like, when I originally didn't know that they were going to, roll back the points, I was thinking, oh, all of the 5.0 stuff and 5.1 stuff are getting massive discounts. I'll hold on to my Valor and fill in some of those extra slots that I haven't found upgrades for. That is not the case. You're going to have to, get Valor again from fresh.
Right, but they're just they're reducing the costs on current Valor items by 50 to 75%.
Yes, and I believe 5.1 items are getting a 25% reduction.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so not as big of a discount, but it's still going to be way.
No, but that's huge. Like you get your alt up, it's going to be super easy to gear up real fast, and a lot of those have very high item levels, so it's going to be pretty straightforward to get into the other LFR, for instance.
Yeah. And speaking of the Isle of the Thunder King, we got even more details about it this past week. Basically, the Blizzard developer David Kosick answered some questions about how the Isle of the Thunder King was going to unlock. And via his Twitter, Blizzard's getting really good about the Twitter thing. I like it. It's like they just kind of ignored its existence for a while, and they're like, hey, let's all make accounts and leak out juicy tidbits. First up, he said that the 5.2 island server progression is weighted based on your faction's participation. So and he also said that small population factions shouldn't be at any more of a disadvantage than any other population server.
Hooray, this is great.
Yeah.
That's tremendous. That's really good.
It's wonderful. He also said that the Isle of the Thunder King is a server-wide push, like the Gates of AQ. Unlike the latter, you don't have to worry about missing the climax.
There's like 20 people at the gate, like in Anchorage, got to go in and be Scarab Lord, and that was it.
Yep. Oh man, Scarab Lord. Wow.
And the Scarab Lord.
It's a tough balance. It makes the world seem really living when someone's saying, hey, look what I got over here, or everyone get down here right now. I love the AQ thing. Granted, I did have the fortune of catching it live, so.
Oh, I've never seen it ever on any of the servers I played on. And then someone wanted to even ask beyond that, is there a danger of missing any story stuff with the one-time Isle events if we are unable to be on when they are triggered? And he answered, no, the special events you're going to be waiting for you. If you log on months after the island is unlocked, you can play through all of these story events back to back.
Yeah,
so you get to see all this stuff at your own time, which I'm all for. The more and more Blizzard is pro having people see what they've actually done, the happier I am.
Mm-hmm.
So no more endgame raids that only like 20 guilds got to see.
Yep.
And this makes me super excited. The Isle of Giants is for big game hunting. So there's going to be not too many quests and a lot of badass looking stuff to kill.
Are we going to get more Hemet Nessingwary quests?
I'm sure.
Oh,
He
jeez.
is guaranteed to be out there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's no way he's not.
I just hope he lost another 40 pages of the Green Hills of Stranglethorn.
Oh, no.
And for some reason, dinosaurs are carrying all of them individually all over the map.
Yeah. So there is that. So Ben, you're one of the most methodical Warcraft players I know.
Oh, okay.
In my circle of friends, what are you doing to prepare for 5.2?
Not much. There's nothing that I really need to do that I haven't done already. Basically, getting up your item level is the only thing that's kind of vaguely important.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, Valor resets. You can't do anything there. Like,
Nope. Other than
be in a position
spend your
to
Valor.
go to the Shadowpan camp, like, have flying. I don't know. Like, that's about it. There's not that much that you can do to prepare.
Yeah. Well, you recently had a big windfall of gear, right? For the longest time, you were kind of getting...
More or less. But yeah, I would have been able to push past that barrier fairly easily anyway.
Gotcha.
But it shouldn't be too difficult for most people, especially once they like increase the drops in LFR. It'll be much better. Yeah. So I don't think there's a huge sort of ramp up that's required, but I am curious to see what the quote server wide push will be. Like in AQ, it was a massive dump of resources and stuff, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe so. And
Yep, first started off with an absurd amount of linen cloth, went on to various more descript items.
Right.
Yeah, and Sunwell was quest turned in, wasn't it?
Mm.
Yeah.
Number of quests turned in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was also BC, the beginning of dailies, so that was kind of an exciting idea.
Yeah.
I would be very surprised if they went the route of AQ as far as dumping of resources.
Oh, I don't think that's the way it's going to go.
No.
I think it'll be a lot more dynamic.
Yeah.
So.
But I'm curious to see how they handle it, because obviously there's going to be some sort of repetitive task involved other than just dailies. I hope it's not just dailies. Like, do X amount of dailies, get to revered with this faction, whatever, move on, right?
Yeah, well, we know there's going to be a PvP orientation to this as well.
Right. But even if they make it as simple as when you complete a daily quest, you get X currency, and then you hand in that currency, and that does it, that small amount of interaction, despite the fact that it's exactly the same as just do X amount of dailies, makes the difference to the point where you feel like you're contributing to something rather than I'm just a guy running around doing dailies.
Says you. I don't think I'd feel any different about it.
Okay. But I'm just saying the perception would be different.
Right. I'll give you that. I'm curious. Very curious to see how it'll unfold. But anyways, not much in the news in the realm of Diablo this week, which brings us to the end of this week's episode. So, closing thoughts, Kyle? What's it like leveling up?
Well, Shadow was a lot more damage.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, so last week we talked about you leveling as discipline. How is life as a Shadow Priest?
Well, I forgot that discipline is not the PvP spec anymore. It is a full-on healing spec with weird PvP things hidden inside. I know
it's still very, very much a PvP-friendly healing spec.
It's
Sure.
the PvP healing spec of choice. You wouldn't go Holy, for instance,
Yeah.
but it's very viable in raid.
And Holy still has some things to it, like reducing stun duration, or there's some weird things built into Holy that still allow it to be PvP. It's just a new system, so
Yeah.
I was
The shared talent trees help a lot with that too.
And finally found my chakra, which is now changed to an active ability that sets as soon as I activate it, rather than having to activate and then cast a certain spell. Kind of bummed about that, but
it was super annoying. Now, it's kind of better because like the part where I've noticed it the most in healing is when you're in a fight with a phase transition, where all of a sudden, like let's say you transition from doing something like a whole lot of raid damage to tank damage or something like that. It's way more convenient to just have one button to push instead of having to go, what spell do I cast? And like it just takes that many more seconds. Now it's just simplified. Also, people weren't getting it. That's a big part.
Yeah.
That's odd to me, because you cast it, it has no global cooldown, then you just shoot out either a flash heal or your bouncing ball, and hey, your spells chose for you. But I guess there was those odd random situations where you'd cast it and then you'd be like, oh crap, someone needs a flash heal, but I wanted to get the area effect heal. Now I've ruined my chakra.
Right.
Yep.
Yep.
Glad to hear that your leveling is doing smoother, though.
Yep, most certainly.
Kill stuff.
Hit like a truck.
Oh my goodness, yes. Ben
Devouring
did not
Plague?
lie to me last week. Yeah, Devouring Plague. Oh my god.
Yeah. It's when you
When
watch
did-
like 3/4 of their health just disappear, and it's like, yep.
When did Hex of Weaknesses trade off for Undead become the most unholy, devastating thing ever? Though I do miss Hex of Weakness. It was such a great troll flavor thing. And one of the few things that reduced healing back in vanilla and BC.
Yeah. Well, he had more
But,
strike.
Yeah, that was about it.
I like the Shadow Orb as a resource system. It's kind of like combo points almost.
You mean Shadow Raven?
Shadow Raven.
Yes, I glyph.
Oh,
He
you got the
glyphs so that
yeah.
they look like ravens.
Yes. Oh, of course. So do I.
Yeah. It's great.
But yeah.
There's that. Good luck with that, Kyle.
Thank you. I will be continuing tonight as I watch a movie I do not want to in the least.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh my goodness.
That's the Notebook, right?
Is this for?
I can't believe
big
this DVD is even in my house.
Have you been
Awesome.
coerced into this, or is this for biggest fan? Or
Yeah, this is for biggest fan.
No.
Doing Nicholas Sparks for Valentine's.
You missed the discussion on StarCast, Ben. His girlfriend refuses to watch the movie with him.
no, no.
To go to the grave, never seeing it, never heard about it. I'm stuck in here.
Yeah.
Luckily, I have World of Warcraft in 2 screens, though, so that's what's happening tonight.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I'm going to get on and play my newly 90 Hunter. I'm very excited. So, anyways, that does it for this week's episode of This Week in Blizz. This Week in Blizz is a production of amove.tv. You can see more about our show over at thisweekinblizz.com, and you can email us at thisweekinblizz@gmail.com. Catch us live every Monday night right here on amove.tv/live. We record at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Ben, you're here next week, but Ben will be gone, so we'll be getting guests and whatnot to fill the sad void, which is Ben's Weifel, until
That's
then. Follow us on Twitter, though. You can follow the show at This Week in Blizz. You can follow me at Garrett Art. You can follow Kyle at Kyle Ferguson. And you can follow Ben at Pixel Garbage. If I say at any more times, I think Beetlejuice will appear. You can join us in WoW.
An odd little caveat in his contract there. You only have to say his name 3 times, but if you say at about 20, he'll just show up anyway.
It's a really weird loophole, but
It's that time. That was a bad joke. You can join us in WoW. Our guild is Versus the World on Lightbringer US Alliance side. Our website is vstheworldguild.com. I have an application and a forum over there. You can find both Kyle and I on StarCast, the StarCraft podcast. And Kyle, where can people find you talking about a movie you hate?
You can find me at Biggest Fan Podcast, where we followed the fattest route you mad. This week, Nicholas Sparks week, and I don't know what's next week because I am sad.
You should just do Sparks Week, the energy alcoholic beverage.
Yes, actually, that'd be fun. A energy drink week.
Sans Nicholas Week. Just Sparks. There you go.
As long as we don't go straight into Jonathan Franzen week, I'll survive.
Don't even know who that is. I'm not sure I want to go down that rabbit hole with you.
Another drama fiction writer.
Ah, wonderful. Don't forget to check out our sponsors, DogHouseSystems.com and TweakedAudio.com. Our code is TWIB. That's TW, letter I, letter B. It will get you double memory on your next Doghouse Systems gaming rig. Also, throw in the code Kerrigan when you pick up that rig. Not only will you get double memory and support This Week in Blizz with the code TWIB, but if you use the code Kerrigan, you'll be entered for a chance to win a life-size, screen-accurate replica of Kerrigan's Ghost Rifle from Wings of Liberty, built by none other than Bill Durant himself of Punished Props. So head on over there. Get that if you need a new gaming computer. Par none. They are wonderful, and their customer support, man, I love it. They were helping me out even before I had a Doghouse rig.
Yeah.
That same code will get you 30% off and free shipping on your entire order of earbuds from tweakedaudio.com. They make noise-reducing, high-quality earbuds with flat cords that are really flipping hard to tangle. I love it. I recently got myself a new pair of the Naturals, the ones made out of wood, with the built-in microphone, so I can talk to Ben at obnoxiously loud volumes because I can't hear my own voice because of the noise cancellation. It's very fun.
What?
What was that? So, anyways, there is that all the while he's trying to explain magic cards to me. It's good. It's good stuff. So, go check them out. Again, it's DogHouseSystems.com and TweakedAudio.com. We thank them for their support, and we will see you all next week for episode 44 of This Week in Blizz. See you then.
Later, guys.
Take care.